Finding a way out of the EU was never going to be easy. And in looking for support, Britain has gone to some of the continent's far corners. Salzburg has glorious musical traditions, fine architecture, and helps define the politics of Austria, a country whose leader now says the best birthday present he could get would be a soft Brexit.
Vielen Dank, danke.
Chris Clee's English shop has been doing business here for 13 years, sustained by a public love of everything from British democracy to Marmite.
Austrians are real Anglophiles. They like the UK, and a lot of them have worked in the UK, been to study in the UK, and go on holiday regularly to the UK.
Among the customers, the Giuliano family, here on a day trip from the Tyrol and wishing Brexit every success.
I think it's a good thing for Great Britain, the Brexit. The European Union is my opinion. It's all too big and they spend too much money.
I'm also not a very big fan because I think it's not so easy. There are too many different cultures and it just doesn't work. And poor countries, rich countries, different opinions. So I really think it's hard.
So there's sympathy for Britain here and some anti-EU feeling. Might that translate into negotiating goodwill? You can understand why Theresa May started here in her campaign to get friendly European governments to soften the EU 27's Brexit negotiating stance. Austria is just such a country, but for a whole variety of reasons, despite popular feeling that's very Anglo-friendly here, they haven't done that. The Austrian government has seen in the progress of Brexit a cautionary tale rather than an example to be followed.
Now the atmosphere, the mood is different. The mood was more than, well, let's see what the British can achieve from Brussels. And I remember the last big journey by David Cameron in February 2016 to Brussels, and when he came back with a package on exemptions, which were not enough for the British Parliament. But that was watched with high attention by the Austrians. Now, 2 years after the vote, there's more this kind of, it might be a big thing what the British are heading for here. We don't yet know the outcome. There's uncertainty in the air, and my learned guess reading of the whole thing is the Austrians for the time being are quite happy sitting on the sofa and watching the thing without playing it.
Go to the heartlands of the Freedom Party, the far-right force that nominated Ms Kneißl to the coalition government, and you find some unexpected views on Brexit. 3 years ago, Wels was on the great migration route up to Germany. The Freedom Party captured a town hall on the back of public disquiet. And now that the refugee flow has been stemmed, it advocates tough benefits restrictions even for people from EU countries. Even so, they take an uncompromising line on the terms of Brexit.
Die Frage, ob die EU Strafmaßnahmen gegen die Briten verhängt, davon halte ich nicht viel. Das heißt, keine Strafmaßnahmen, sondern eine faire Verhandlung. Aber das Verhandlungsergebnis mit den Briten hat natürlich auch Auswirkungen auf die Rest-EU. Und wenn es möglich ist, dass Länder austreten und die gleichen Vorteile genießen wie vorher, als sie noch Mitglied der EU waren, das wäre ein fatales Signal an alle anderen EU-Länder.
And so to Vienna, where last week Karen Kneißl welcomed fellow EU foreign ministers for a meeting. As they arrived, we asked them about the possibility of a no-deal Brexit and whether member governments should be softening the EU negotiating stance.
Do you think that it's time that 27 got more involved in the Brexit negotiation, or it's still safe to leave it to Barnier?
No, it's fine for the moment to follow the discussions in Brussels with Michel Barnier, because we have for the moment discussions about that. And we try to understand better the different proposals from UK, because we have seen a proposal to split between products and services, but it's quite difficult in the internal market. So we try to understand better how it's possible to have a real solution for Ireland, and to protect the internal market. But we are open to find a way to some innovations if it's needed. But for the moment, there are discussions with Michel Barnier is the best way to do the job.
We'll keep working in the right direction and hopefully find a good solution.
And if both sides now seem to be saying agreement probably won't be possible by October, is there still time, do you think?
We are definitely under time pressure, and I hope that everybody will recognize that. But first of all, it's important that EU27 is working together, and hopefully we'll find a good solution.
But some countries are somewhat off message, if only in offering the UK more encouragement.
Poland is in favor of maintaining relations with the UK after Brexit, so we will argue for a good deal for both sides. I think it is possible, but definitely I will encourage my partners within the European Union to be more open to arguments of the UK.
Once inside the room, though, as another Polish minister discovered recently in Brussels, speaking up for Britain risks being labelled a splitter. It's not in any country's interest to gallop forward on behalf of the UK. So to the disappointment of Downing Street, and this story has been much the same for the past couple of years, there's been no European country or leader who's been prepared to step forward, break ranks, gather the others around them, and lead them forward towards a softer deal for Britain. The mood has, if anything, hardened among the 27. Seeing turmoil in Britain, they now hint that even an extension of negotiations is unlikely.
I don't see it happen on the level of the extension of a timeline or reshaping the whole negotiating set. To be a realist, I don't see it happen. But again, there's always the unknown that could, but...
A crisis.
A crisis? Do you think of an internal British crisis? Yeah, but here it's not up to me to judge that. I'm so far away from London.
Back to Salzburg, where Theresa May will return in a fortnight to make her case. At this time of year, the squares echo to opera, a fitting scene for a tragic denouement. She'll perform her usual refrain, a plea for a special deal on Ireland and the wider relationship. Her audience, though, is likely to remain unimpressed.